Okay, so a quick update before we get started with this video. I just wanted to say that I've actually now launched the Patreon. At last, I know it's been a while, guys. So you can find the Patreon for me in the description below. Basically, it's Patreon/Senpai Torpid DOW, but the link is in the description. There'll also be an interface on each of my videos from here on. Gotta shill that shit. And look, guys, I appreciate that finances right now are pretty bad. This is unprecedented economic times. We've got inflation levels that haven't been this bad since the 1970s. This is kind of crazy, and I get it. So I really wanted to make sure that I had decent benefits, a decent benefit structure in place to reward people who do choose to support the longevity and resilience of this channel. And I think the most important Patreon benefit is probably the fact that patrons will get access to 8 new casts in the first 2 months of my Patreon launch, and then 1 extra cast every 2 weeks thereafter. These casts will be completely ad-free, and they will always be 1v1 with intermediate or higher skill level players in Dawn of War 2. Now, the way it's going to work, they're going to be unlisted videos that you're going to get links to on the Patreon. So what I would say, if that money is really difficult for you, what you could do is you could wait 6 months, you could buy a month's worth of my Patreon, you could download the videos, and you could binge watch the videos. But just know that every 2 weeks, if you're a patron, you will be getting those free videos, extra ones that normal people can't see on YouTube. But there's a load of other benefits as well. I've really made sure that it's, you know, that there's value in it, because it's a rough economic time, and I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel, and anything that you can do is a great help. So that's all for that update, and I've also released this with a special, so I hope you enjoy this, guys. This is going to be a big series. Torpid, out for now. Welcome everybody. This is going to be Crysis FC versus Bestie's Mech Boy. We're going to be playing on the Vive Hive for Game 1 of the Winners Bracket Finals. So this is a best of 3 for the Winners Bracket Finals. The winner... oh no. We've got some Steam chat. It's all good. It'll only be amusing if it continues. Anyway, the winner of this best of 3 goes into the Grand Finals with 1 automatic win, and then that Grand Finals is a best of 5 format. We'll see how it goes. So far, we're seeing a little bit of unconventional play from Cry, only opting for the 1 scout, presumably going to be going for double tax instead. Now, on a big map like this, you would typically go for double scouts. However, it probably is not happening because of the Mech Boy. The Mech Boy, being a really fast commander by virtue of his teleportability, can hunt down those lightly armoured, low HP scouts and kill them very quickly with his shooter. So perhaps Cry doesn't want to deal with that, going to go for double tax instead. Still a bit of requisition off from the double tax. And Bestie a little bit slow on the gens as well. I'm guessing he probably wants fast Stormboys or something. I think he should be dropping 1 gen, or at least noding this. Force Commander going to be a bit of a nuisance here, taking up behind this Brazier, which is actually green cover. And because there's these rocks here, the shooters really don't have good line of sight. They'd have to move here, and then he'd be in melee charge range, and they wouldn't be able to escape. You know, that Force Commander's got a very scary bolt pistol, so you don't even really want to try kiting him. It's not like kiting a Hive Tyrant who has no sidearm. Yeah, we see a bit of an impasse here. Tactical Marines, I don't know, they're playing very defensive. It's funny because the Tactical Marines can definitely beat a Mech Boy 1v1 in ranged combat or in melee combat. They don't have light infantry armor, they're heavy infantry, and you can see way more HP than 4 scouts, triple. But yeah, the Orcs don't want this engagement. They take the big maneuver around, and now they're going to take another stab at it. But the awkward thing here is now there's second tax, and they're already outputting a lot of damage into these sluggers. Ideally, you see, you'd want your sluggers to be tying up the tax, but a little bit slow from Bestie actually. So those sluggers end up retreating without really getting anything done, and now this is the problem. Force Commander's probably going to kill this guy. No, he changed target, so it doesn't matter, he killed that boy instead. Scout's getting in some work here, and the Mech Boy's doing his thing. He did actually manage to decap this VP, but now the Tax are going to try and punch him to death. He's just being really annoying. He's an annoying little shit. So they're going to shoot him here, but he's probably going to get the decap. That's so frustrating. Ooh, maybe not. He has to be careful with the second tax coming. There's an enfilade of fire, and he cannot finish the decap, and the mech boy's forced off. This is a really good opening from Cry. Looks like he's got tax on Overwatch. Hey, look, maybe I was going to say, yeah, it is Overwatch. So he cancels that. He's going to get his ASM out really quickly. You see, to get the ASM out optimally, he builds no generators and he gets no upgrades. No fast shotguns, nothing like that. 0 upgrades, no gens, and he gets optimal ASM timing. But that will be countered by some Storm Boys for Bestie. But the problem for Bestie is, yeah, he needed to put the 2 gens down because Orc Boys are really bad when they don't have their upgrades. So let's see. Yeah, still no upgrades for them. Now he can support these Storm Boys with the battery pack from the mech, and I think in this kind of battle, that would be really good. Storm Boys have got to do a lot of work. You know, they're not the tankiest. They got less HP than your tax or your ASM, but they output a lot of damage, and they're full power melee like Banshees. So they're really vital in defeating all these heavy infantry troops. So yeah, get the battery pack, heal them up. There you go. See the battery pack already. That's 150 HP heal. That's huge, because these guys don't even have that much HP per model. Was it? Oh god, maths. Well, it's a bit under, it's 190 HP per model. So, yeah, wow, 150 HP. That's basically a guaranteed heal, more or less. But of course, it's a bit awkward, because if they lose the models, you can't resurrect the dead. Gonna see the heal on the sluggers. Ooh, a little bit late on the heal there, Bestie, jeez. Yeah, he'd already lost a couple of models when he did that heal. Wow. Might even lose the sluggers. ASM getting the second jump and a beautiful sync kill from the ASM. What great work. Can even go for the shooters now. I don't think they're going to get them. Yeah, and it's risky. Storm Boys did come in and they help out the day, managing to kill one of those ASMs. So that's something. This is an awkward engagement though. I don't like this engagement. Oh, power sword. No, not power sword. Why did I think it was power sword? Doesn't matter, there's a battle cry, and now all these units are getting damage buffs. I think Cry was keeping that scout in to try and get another shotgun blast, because it's relatively light on the cooldown. But can't do it. Forced off by the focus fire, and one of the tax retreats with no losses, but now there's a flamer. Oh god, that's really bad, because the Storm Boys are still in retreat. He needs to get something out here to tie them up. There's no time. Before the Emperor drops on the Tactical Space Marines, they are now getting a damage increase. Look at how fast the Flamer is tearing through that Gen farm. Now, big shooters do come out on the Shooter Boys, so you can use aiming, what's that, to suppress the Tactical Marines. But honestly, it's not even needed, because the Mech Boy is here to tie them up in melee, which is a good play from the Mech Boy. Just one of the many reasons he's great on this map. You know, the impassable terrain really doesn't affect him too much. I'm cruising for a bruising. I don't know why I'm cruising for a bruising, but there you go. Yeah, so FC's back at this again. Wow, what an annoying play on this map with the FC. So hard to take this on. You don't want to melee him, because he's right on the edge, and only a few of your models will be able to attack him, because of the impassable terrain. At the same time, it's very awkward to shoot him, because look how close you have to get. This is like the closest they can be. And he's in that green cover, benefiting from it very clearly, because look how little damage he's taking. That's crazy. Are these fully upgraded? Yeah, this is double fully upgraded shooters and a Mech Boy, and look how little damage he's taking. Crazy. But the one downside of Cry's build here is that he did get his gen super late, so it's funny, he's actually doing pretty well on power right now, but not so much on the requisition. I guess he did bleed a couple of models, I'm not sure. Now Bestie's trying to put on a bit of pressure. He has replaced his sluggers. I think that's pretty smart. The burners, actually, not only are they decent gen bashing tools, but they... Oh, this is a bad engagement. The burners do give you 2 power melee weapons, so those 2 models of sluggers will do extra damage. Man, Bestie's micro just isn't here right now. Actually accidentally retreating the Storm Boys instead of the Mech Boy. The Storm Boys could have easily got a kill on some of them attacks. They actually knocked them over with a special attack when they were this low. But yeah, they retreat out of there, and it doesn't even save the Mech Boy, who goes down to a grenade. And that was just a beautiful engagement from Cry. Cry actually lost 0 models, and now Cry is going to be able to continue his gen bash. Yeah, Bestie has no gens right now, and he's actually out of requisition as well because his orcs are bleeding like crazy. And he had to replace those sluggers. This is looking really bad for Bestie. Bestie, yeah, man, he can't even reinforce all of his troops for fuck's sake. And Cry is already going tier 2. Bestie is 300 requisition off of that. This is not good. A fast Razorback could be very annoying. Now, the thing is, Razorback is nowhere near as good against Mechboy as it is against a lot of the heroes in this game. The ability to get a beamy death gun that can teleport, pretty strong against transports, let me tell you, but the problem is you've still got to be in tier 2 for that, and man, Bestie is so far off. Even if he gets a Gen Bash now, I feel like Cry is going to have ample resources to be able to get a Razorback out nonetheless. Now Cry is moving his FC away and he doesn't have any scouts to support, so I think Bestie should be able to win this engagement quite handily actually. I mean, honestly, if Bestie doesn't win this handily, then there's something seriously wrong. So he's basically committing all of his resources, yeah. So Cry's going to delay as long as he can, basically. He's using for the Emperor once again. ASM chopping up a couple of the shooter boys. Yeah, they delay for a little bit, but he knows he can't win this engagement, so he's been very sly. He's snuck off with his flamers. And another interesting play here from Cry is how he actually split up his gen farm. I presume that was intentional. Because this is a very wide map. You often will find yourself outpositioned there. Once he's seen the troops coming through in a conga line here, when you've got your scouts here and your FC here, you can't respond in time, you're going to lose your gens. And a way to mitigate that risk is to split your gen farm. Yeah, here comes the Razor, and Bestie, oh my god, Bestie has 10 power income, guys. The base power income. He doesn't even own a power node on the map. This is looking rough. I mean, he needs to cap power like ASAP. He doesn't own... He only owns one VP, what the fuck? Oh, this is really rough. He's going for VPs, but I don't really know why. He needs to cap the power. He should know that Cry's going to be tier 2 pretty soon. Cry didn't spend that much in tier 1. Just the ASM, the shotguns, and the Sarge. Well, and the Flamer. But yeah, he's just... Oh, that's the concede. Yeah, Bestie knows it's over. He's got no map control. He doesn't even have a power point, for fuck's sake. And he sees the Razorback. He's not even starting tier 2. Yeah, that's game. So, on to game 2, I guess. Remember, this is a best of 3 for the winners bracket finals. Okay, guys, here we go. Game 2 of the winners bracket finals between Bestie and Cry. Bestie's pulling out his old classic. The old reliable. Not Kadishan Devils, just Imperial Guard. Cry's actually opting for the Ravener Alpha. This is a really weird map. You know, I haven't played on this map in... Well, to be honest, I haven't played 1v1 in, like, years. But even that considered, I don't remember the last time I played on this map. Jeez, this is a weird map. I'm surprised it's in the map pool. But it is, and you know what? I really like the pick from Cry here. Such a big map. The Ravener Alpha is going to be amazing. And look at this dirty tunnel placement. So if you're just looking like this, you can't fucking see the tunnel. You literally cannot see the tunnel. But of course, good players will look on the minimap and see the little squiggly line. And then the Sentinel can literally just walk over the tunnel. Probably doesn't want to do that when he doesn't have Stomp and he's already losing HP from the Ravener Alpha. We'll see how it works out. Very ballsy play from Cry to go triple Hormagaunts. Now, conventional wisdom says that melee spam is not very good against IG, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's necessarily the case. Now, look, if you just A-move 3 melee squads forward into an Imperial Guard line, and you get hit with, like, Kadishans, and there's a Las turret, and just crazy damage, yeah, you're gonna get wrecked. Well, surprise, surprise. But if you hit them from angles, it's actually quite hard, and IG can get overwhelmed by melee. Look at that, you see, the Sentinel was pushed back from here, and the Guardsmen were isolated, and the Hormagaunts just ripped them to pieces. They don't even have their Sergeant yet, which is very annoying. So he's either going to have to pay a lot more to get the 2 initial Guardsman models up, or they're going to be in base for a long time waiting for the Sergeant upgrade, and then reinforcing. So yeah, he pays for the 2 Guardsman models instead. And down here as well, Hormagaunts force off those Guardsmen. If the IG can blob, melee is way less effective. So basically you go melee dependent on the map. And a map like this, holy shit, it's massive. How can the IG contest all these areas while they're blobbing? They can't. They're going to lose the map control if they do. They're going to have their gen farms really exposed. So we'll see, especially when there's Ravener tunnels. Yeah, I like the pick. This is tough. I wouldn't like to be playing as the Inquisitor. I might even think about going for double Sentinels here, because obviously a well-micro Sentinel never gets caught by the Hormagaunts and can just backpedal constantly. The difficulty is, as the IG player, you're going to have to micro so much better, because you have to constantly be moving your Sentinel, making sure it doesn't rotate and you are force pathing it with a shift click repeatedly. And all the NID needs to do is air move in the general direction of your units. So eventually with 2 Sentinels split up on the map, and then your Guardsman and your Inquisitor and potentially Cadishans, man, you're just risking losing an engagement. And of course with the IG, if you win an engagement, you bleed the enemy, but you don't wipe them because you've only got range damage. If you lose an engagement against all this melee, they can very much wipe you. So we see what Cry's doing here. He's not really taking many concerted fights. I mean, he's taking a fight here, which is cool because he's got the warriors with the Hormagaunts. So these Hormagaunts are in Synapse, they're getting 20% damage resistance, that's nice. And he's just pressuring the Sentinel, keeping them busy. The Inquisitor's chasing, but man, her moving damage is really not very good. I don't actually know about Cry engaging the Inquisitor here. Yeah, that seems like a bad idea. Procs a special, which was inevitable the longer you engage with her. Oh my god, I actually killed the warrior, which was the cause of backlash there. That was really unlucky, actually. But Hormagaunts did destroy the node here, so put on a bit of pressure, but Cadishan Devils are now out. I will note that this side of the map has been under control of Cry for the entire game. That VP did get decapped, but has been recapped by the Hormagaunts. And Bestnoob needs to do something about these tunnels. We're seeing 2 tunnels popping up in the middle of the map. We're only going to start seeing more and more and more. Now, the Sentinel can oh my god. Oh, for some reason I just thought that was the tier 2 shield. Nope, it's all good. Bestie is not tier 2, that would be crazy. He's just getting the Rosarius. Now, the Rosarius is fine. I actually think double Cadishans is the play here. Because Cadishans are the only unit that can be sent off on their own and hold their ground and not lose 1v1 to the Tyranids. So then, that means if you can send off one Cadishan to do the side capping. You could get like a Brazier Inquisitor and send her to do side capping. Or you could just keep her default, to be honest. I feel like the Inquisitor isn't really getting much value done right now. She'll be fantastic in tier 2. When you get a sail, when you get the Inferno Piston, things like that. Ooh, this is a good engagement. Wow, those warriors seem quite low. No, that's the Hormagaunts. How many models? 3 models with 52 HP. Not great. So the tunnel was put up, but the Sentinel just stomps on it. There is a Hive node on the power farm. So the Hive node is a really weird building. It can occasionally emit this cloud, and when it has this cloud, it does a tiny amount of damage over time to enemy troops, but it also reduces the incoming and outgoing ranged damage. So if you're under that cloud, you can have the Hormagaunts under there, ripping up the gens for ages and just shrugging off the fire. And it kind of zones the enemy out for a little bit of time. But yeah, not really effective in that instance because the Hormagaunts were kind of killed anyway. I guess they were just too low HP before they even got within the cloud. So Cry... yeah, the problem here is that Bestie has not really had any gens. Cry's had 3 gens here, he's had this power node, and he's had this unnoded power node. Wow, he is still on it. Still stopping the generators. Looks like he might lose a Hormagaunt here. Old Reliable, not even needed. Very risky play there with Catalyst. I think he was hoping that Bestie wasn't watching, but he was. But these Hormagaunts and Warriors came out of the tunnel positioned over here. God, how annoying is this to fight? I guess Bestie hasn't even seen this damn thing. I think that was the tunnel here. The Ravener was here building a tunnel that the Sentinel stomped. It was connected to this tunnel over here. Jeez, this is so annoying. The pressure is just relentless. And now we see melee Synapse Warriors. So these guys now are super tanky. 1,732 heavy infantry HP. Be quite annoying to deal with. Look at how good the Cadishan Devils are though. Even they get overwhelmed by the sheer quantity of Hormagaunts. Hormagaunts just focusing down the generators. They want to stay ahead in tech. Flamers do arrive, but they're not going to do too much. And yeah, the Inquisitor going around with that Rosarius, she is basically unkillable. I mean, it takes so long for the Tyranids to kill her, but it doesn't matter because she doesn't do any damage. It's kind of like when you play mass melee against a Chaos Lord. Everyone's like, oh, Chaos Lord, so fucking strong, you know, oh, I can't kill him with the melee, I get him to 20% HP, uses Kill the Weak and gets full HP. It doesn't matter, man. The Chaos Lord doesn't do any damage, just run away from him. When he's chasing you, and especially if he doesn't have Combi Bolter, doesn't do any damage, just ignore him. Now, Bestie Sentinel was actually privy to this, he knew something was up, very good game awareness from Bestnoob, moves over, crushes the tunnel there. You see, this actually gives a decent amount of XP. A little bit of XP, I don't know if these guys got any XP from that as well. Honestly, not that much XP, but it does add up if the Ravener just spams tunnels willy-nilly without any purpose. You don't want to do that as the Ravener, because you will just feed XP and red to your opponent. And generally, the Tyranid globals are not very good, so the little bit of red that you get back is usually not worth it. I don't know if you guys know, because I remember I was telling Toil this like 3 months ago. Okay, it was probably 3 years ago. It was a long time ago, but I was telling him how when you lose a model, you only get 3/4 of the red that the enemy gets. He just thought you got an equal amount. So you never get as much red from losing troops as the opponent gets from killing troops. Just something to bear in mind. Now sometimes that can be worth it, especially if you're like an Orc. It's still worth it because your globals will be worth more than say a Tyrannid's globals. But like factions like the Orcs and Chaos, they have amazing globals compared to, let's say, Space Marines. Tyranids, they have some of the worst globals. Anyway, that's a tangent, but once again, actually, we see quite a dominating performance here from Cry. But it's a little bit harder to press your advantage when you have a tech lead as the Tyranids. I mean, we see the Tyrant Guard here because that is like the Walker equivalent. But unfortunately, it's not Walker, it's only super heavy infantry armor. I actually really love this skin, this Tyrant Guard looks sick. It's only super heavy infantry armor, and it's really fucking slow as well, so it spent a really long time moving over. What's going on here? Okay, Guardsmen are taking the bottom. Bestie is actually power noded the bottom. He's trying to get to tier 2. He's holding out really well against this relentless pressure from all the melee Tyranids. But it's hard, man. They are just ignoring his troops because they're so tanky. Just getting onto the gens, it's a problem. And the Ravener's just going around capping everything. Look at these Hormagaunts left naked because they are just for capping. Oh, splash damage from the Tyrant Guard, pretty brutal. He attacks so fast with the Tyrant Guard that the splash damage really starts to stack up very quickly. His DPS might not be amazing, but certainly DPS against high model squads is fantastic. Lots of capillary towers going up because there's lots of red for Cry and just spamming Rippers out of them. Flamers are a fantastic counter to the Rippers though, I like that. Wow, look at them melt those Rippers. So not a good use of red requisition for Cry, and again it also feeds a little bit of XP to the IG. Fortunately, it looks like the Sentinel is taking most of the XP, which is not really what you want because it will go down eventually and it doesn't output a lot of damage compared to the infantry. See, that's one of the tricky things as well. I was saying I would go double Sentinels in tier 1, but yes, that's great against Hormagaunts in tier 1, but the damage of that stupid little last turret on the Sentinel in tier 2 against these Adrenal Gland Warriors, it's really awful. And it also does nothing to the Tyrant Guard. Whereas, you know, Cadishans can get a Melter Gun with a Sergeant, Guardsmen can get the Plasma Guns. Not these Guardsmen, because they got the Flamers, but yeah. This is tricky stuff. So he's caught the bottom with these Guardsmen. He's got gens coming out, but there's now a second Tyrant Guard. I'm a little bit surprised, honestly, that Cry didn't send that second Tyrant Guard down to this side. I probably would have done that. Inquisitor's just sort of ratting around, trying to make a nuisance of herself. We see Cry going tier 3, and he also has the Corrosive Devourer. Now this weapon is one of the best plasma weapons in the game. Watch how much damage it does to the Sentinel. Huge amount of spike damage. Yeah, just gonna let the Tyrant Guard zone out the enemies, and then I was gonna say probably gonna cap with the Hormagaunts, but no, here we go. Push from the other side. Oh god, this is brutal. Melter Stormtroopers caught in melee by Hormagaunts, Tyrant Guard, and bloody 20 Rippers. Not good. They lose 4 models. Oh, this is really bad. Bestie's just getting pushed back on all flanks here. Inquisitor's doing her thing. She'd probably cap that wreck point, go take the VP. Yep. Keep Bestie in the game. Okay, I think he's getting a las cannon. Snare the Tyrant Guard. Kind of an awkward map though. Yeah, I see why Cry has gone for the Tyrant Guard. Look how awkward it is to push. Where are you going to set up your las cannon? He's just going to use the line of sight blockers here and the stairs to catch you, and then there's all these rippers to deal with that you can't even suppress. Oh, this is a nightmare. If you set up the heavy weapons team in this area, it can be quite effective. I guess that's why Cry's coming down, but oh my god, look at this. There's even melee troops down on this side. Isn't it cool to see a melee spam dominating the Imperial Guard? I would be surprised if it's just basic heavy bolter. I guess that could be okay. It does okay damage against the Tyrant Guards at close range. But I think the Rippers are going to be a problem since you can't suppress Rippers. Yeah, look, already the Rippers are tying up this heavy weapons team. Okay, yeah, we're getting the las cannon, that makes sense. That's what I thought was needed. Eventually Bestie's micro fails there and he loses the Sentinel. I mean, honestly, this looks pretty doomed, not gonna lie. It's gonna be a triple cap against Bestie soon. He's already under 200 VPs, Cry's barely lost any. This is crazy, and a Doom of Malantite comes out of the tunnel. Didn't even know this thing could use tunnels, and there you go, Bestie concedes when he gets launched across the map by that Cataclysm from the Doom of Malantite. A really dominating performance from Crysis there. Great to see it. So Cry is going to win the winner's bracket. So that means that Bestie then goes to the loser's bracket and has to win some battles down there to reach the grand finals. Guess what, guys? He wins the loser's bracket, so then he meets Cry in the finals for a best of 5. So we're going to cast the best of 5 from the finals next, and Cry, because he won this winner's bracket, goes into that best of 5 with 1 win already. So it's 1-0 to Cry in the grand finals, and that's what we're going to cast next. Let's see that game. Here we go. It's the grand finals. We've got Outer Reaches. This is definitely a league game. They are confirming that with their L's. We've got Bestie playing as the Warlock, and we've got Crysis playing as the FC. Pretty good Space Marine map, this. But, you know, Eldar, always done well into the Space Marine, so we'll see how it is. If you're wondering why is this a good Space Marine map, well, it's super hard to get a triple cap. So what that means is that games typically go on really damn long. And there's a lot of dodgy retreat paths. If you overextend, say Bestie comes this way to attack the gen farm, and he sort of pushes the enemy back, and he comes to here, and then he has to retreat for whatever reason. He retreats down this way, and he can be retreat naded. But of course, Guardians can do that as well. But look at the distance from the base here to this wreck point, to this contested power node, to here. If you send attacks here, they can cover this ground so fast. Basically, the distance from base to the mid is very low, which helps the Space Marine factions when they don't bleed. They bleed the enemy, retreat, heal, and come back quickly. However, Cry is actually opting for triple scouts, which is 100% unconventional. Pushing in deep with the Force Commander here, manages to kill 1 Guardian with his bolt pistol. Not really that good though. Kind of feels like a waste of the Force Commander. I think he should be doing a bit more than killing 1 Guardian before getting forced off. Warlock on the other side, you can see harassing these scouts. Not really too much the scouts can do here. Might be worth actually using a ranged attack. I'm hoping that you hit this model here because he should be really low on HP. Smite might kill him, not Smite, Destructor. Wow, he doesn't die? Oh, that's so lucky for Cry. This fella should die. Oh, there you go, look at this. Aha, there you go, boom, called it. So actually killing him while getting the decap with his ranged attack, you love to see it. I'm sure Bestie did that intentionally. Bestie's a very good player. So it might be turning up the heat against Cry here right now, but no, Cry's spreading out all over the place again. Look at this. Decapping Bestnoob's natural requisition point, and he does own this contested power. I'll let you guys into a little secret. When I play this map, the first thing I do is rush this power and try to node it right at the start. I send 1 unit here, usually my scouts, then my hero to try and cap this, and send the tacticals to back them up. I feel like if you can cap cap this contested power really early, people just forget about it. Because you're constantly fighting over the VPs and then worrying about this top area of the map because the distance to the enemy farm is so low. But, yeah. I'm not seeing a node on it yet. We're seeing fast ASM. Okay. Map pressure's coming on pretty well for Cry, actually. Well, Bestie did secure the top. I mean, having both of these requisitions is going to be quite nice, I'm sure. Rangers are really good on this map as well, again, because the distance from the base to the combat is quite short. So you can get in, do a couple of pokes, bleed a model, and then retreat out without actually losing the sniper model. And not wasting a lot of time then having to come back after retreating. Oh, nice ASM jump onto the Rangers there. They're really caught out. Banshee's absolutely nowhere to be seen. For the Emperor coming down as well, perhaps a little bit excessive. Ha! Bolt pistols killing that Ranger. But yeah, ASM out of position here. A bit of a delayed destructor there. We're going to see the Merciless Witchblade coming out now, the Warlock as well, to try and counter those ASM. Really good melee weapon, fantastic 360-degree special attack on it, high damage per hit, and just for a little bit of a cherry on top, drains the energy of whichever unit it hits in melee. Very annoying for the ASM, which like to jump in, get a bit more energy, and then jump back out again. Well, you can't do that if you're getting hit by the Merciless Witchblade. We'll see if the Force Commander opts for any War Gears himself to try and counter this. He probably will need some War Gears, or he's going to start losing in the fights, I would imagine. Not seeing any battle equipment for the Guardians yet. I like the battle equipment, not only because you get nades, and when a nade's bad, nades are always good, but it gives you 33% more HP for your Guardian models. That's such a huge HP increase. It's really just worth it on that, for that alone, honest. So Force Commander trying his best here with Battlecry, but yeah, Banshees just ignore him, as you should. Yeah, the Warlock can come in now with the Merciless Witchblade. This is actually looking like a bad situation for the Force Commander. A bit of a miss micro from Bestie. I think maybe he'd have got out fine anyway. Ooh, here we go, retreat grenade. Oh, whiffs it. Could have potentially killed those Guardians there, got a really nice engagement with the ASM and Scouts. That's not an engagement that the Guardians do like. We're seeing more investment into the Warlock, now getting the Champion's Robe. I mean, honestly, there isn't really that much to counter the Warlock right now. No Tactical Marines means that's one of the primary sources of ranged DPS gone for Cry's composition, so he has to rely on these Scouts. But of course, with their shotguns, they have to get a lot closer than Tactical Marines do. Getting close to a Merciless Witchblade Warlock is generally not very fun for Scouts. Again, they're a very energy-reliant unit, so that Witchblade draining their energy is a pain in the arse. Often Scouts will be able to use both their grenade and their shotgun blast in one single engagement, but not when they're being drained by that Merciless Witchblade. What's coming out? Artificer Armor, so make that FC a bit tankier, give him more HP regen and more max HP. I like that. Like I say, he's going to need something in tier 1 to stick in these fights, I think. I don't know if a Power Sword would also be worth it. Potentially, the extra damage that you get from your Battlecry buffs when you have the Power Sword could be very effective with the Shotgun Scouts, but we'll have to see. I feel like Cry's coming out of his base here with a lot of HP already gone. I don't really like that. I would have waited a bit longer. Not entirely sure what these Scouts are doing. Unupgraded Scouts. Actually super lucky to not lose a model. They can come up now and start decapping. Oh, these Banshees do not want this fight. Oh, so annoying. The Merciless Witchblade draining all the energy from the ASM, so they can't actually double jump and get onto the Rangers. It's so annoying, these Rangers. It's just such little counterplay. Like, it would have been great to have the Scouts decapping this point, but they can't because of these stupid Rangers. I hate fighting Rangers as the Space Marines, it's so annoying. Okay, FC gonna tie up the Guardians here. Yeah, they have to get out. Unfortunately for Cry, he doesn't have any energy for any grenades in this instance, so that could have been another fairly easy wipe. The Rangers are getting good poke. Don't want to be shooting at the Force Commander though, especially when he's got that Artificer Armor for the HP regen. That's going to be quite ineffective. Alright, this is a good game. Much better. Definitely a much more even game. Pretty even in tech. Let's see how far Cry is. Okay, Cry is actually floating a tiny amount right now. He can actually go tier 2. Oh, again, that Warlock getting onto the ASM. Look at how annoying he is, draining that energy. Yeah, they have to retreat. Gosh, such a good upgrade against the ASM. Banshee's putting in some good work down bottom. Getting rid of the power node. Eventually, Cry did node this. Nice little bash from these scouts. These scouts been on 2 models I am not liking the look of. Where are the rangers? Okay, I think they must have got forced off. But they did kill 2 of the models for it. Force Commander's trying his best to delay this Warlock, using Battlecry, proccing some specials, but because he has the Champion's Robe, that gives him immunity to weapon knockback while it's up. That's proving quite effective. Kind of feel like a Falcon could be en route. Then again, this is a bad map for transports. There's a lot of difficult pathing areas, a lot of tank traps that they can't path through, can't crush. Okay. Not seeing anything yet, so might be waiting for a Wraith Lord. Before the Emperor dropped down the ASM there, I think that was a bit questionable. Definitely not going to get a wipe. Feels like a waste of red, to be honest. Again, FC, I don't know what he's doing. He needs to stay in the base and heal a little bit longer. But Cry's tier 2 now, so we'll see if he can make any players. Now, the problem with Cry's build is that all these scouts, they're not really very good in tier 2. Not very good at all, actually, in tier 2. And the Guardians are going to get pretty insane in tier 2. Yeah, they got their Warlocks already, so... The Warlock is a pretty good fighter. And he also gives 20% damage resistance to range attacks to every model in the squad. But we should be getting the Aspect upgrade, because then the Warlock gets 33% more HP, which is really nice. Okay, ASM leading. There is Battlecry active on them as well. Yeah. The Shotgun Scouts there too to knock over the Howling Banshees and the Battlecry buffs. They don't want that fight, even though the ASM don't have a Sergeant yet. So they back out of there without losing any models, which is nice. Nice conservative play from Bestnoob. He knows there's no rush. Oof. Grenade landing square on the Warlock, but he doesn't give a damn. Rangers getting a little bit of poke. The ASM are getting... well, they're losing a little bit of HP, but it's fine. We're going to see a Wraith Lord versus a Dreadnought. Grenade spike time. Nice jump to counter it. Probably not necessary, to be honest, but either way, he forces off the Guardians. Doesn't even give them the opportunity to be able to fleet a foot away from that engagement. Probably would like to see the Thunderhammer at this point. Really make all these infantry blobs fear the Force Commander. The problem, of course, is going to be that Wraith Lord. Now, I feel like you kind of have to keep your Dreadnought melee if you're going to be fighting a Wraith Lord. At least until the Wraith Lord's dead, then you can change it to the Assault Cannon. But you don't really want to go for a multi-melter, because then the Wraith Lord can just tie you up in melee and absolutely stomp your Dreadnought. Since the Wraith Lord, even if it gets one of its sidearm upgrades, still has full melee resist, whereas if the Dreadnought gets a multi-melter, it loses its melee resist and will get thrashed by the Wraith Lord in melee. Again, one of the problems of not having your Tactical Marines in tier 1 means no missile launcher here, no Stern Guard, so I'm going to be relying basically on a las cannon. Wow, he's getting a Power Fist. But the Wraith Lord's got melee resist, so... you can get all the heavy melee that you want. It's not going to kill a Wraith Lord very quickly, and there are double Guardian repair support as well, so yeah, I feel like he's going to need more. It's tough versus Eldar, man. Even if you get a Las Cannon Devastator, the Warlock can get Warp Throw. Okay, Guardian's Weapons team coming out for Bestie, probably going to get a Bright Lance, I imagine. Try and counter the enemy Dreadnought. It's got a Bright Lance already on the Wraith Lord. One model Scout's coming out just to try and cap, but gonna have to back off here. Scout's capping up top. big melee blob in the middle, taking out the contested power, that's fine. Battle equipment is now out on both the Guardians, nice. Okay, so we got fully upgraded Eldar troops. Any warp throw? No warp throw yet. What else we got for the Force Commander? Okay, nothing else, just the Power Fist. Yeah, I really feel like we have a Melter Bomb as well, okay. So he can do a little bit of damage to the Wraith Lord, but man, I don't know. Double Guardian support, and then the fact that the Wraith Lord naturally has a little bit of HP regen. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think it needs some ranged AV damage. If we had a missile launcher, things would be different. This is a pretty bad engagement for Cry. His ASM engaged a little bit too early. The Dreadnought was idling for quite a while. The Dreadnought really needs to move up and help the ASM in dealing with these Banshees, but unfortunately, the Dreadnought and the FC are just punching away at this Wraith Lord, but I feel like it's all for naught. Bestie has kept the Shuriken for a while. He's going to force off the Force Commander, and then it's getting a Bright Lance, and now this Wraith Lord is in quite a precarious position. Actually uses Emperor's Fist to try and clear out some of the Guardians, but there is a Bright Lance on the Wraith Lord as well, so yeah, this is scary. Can he wipe out the Bright Lance? No, it actually retreats out. Problem is that as this Dreadnought is fleeing, it's going to get hit by the shoulder-mounted Bright Lance from the Wraith Lord, and it's going to do some really good damage. I think Fry recognizes this and he stays in the fight, but yeah, he's not accounting for the fact there is now double Guardian and repairs on the field and nothing to really stop it. Melter Bomb. Merciless Switchblade once again draining the energy on the ASM. Oh, the ASM, ooh, saved by the Shotgun Blast, but the Dreadnought idles for a second and probably going to be taken out due to it. Why is it turned around? Cry is messing up his micro, and it looks like the Banshees are going to take out the Force Commander. The Warlock gets a beautiful sync kill onto the Scouts. Oh, look at this. Eldar Assassination. The Dreadnought, the Scouts still bleeding. Oh my god, must have hit a capillary. The FC is down as well. This is GG. This is GG. Another Dreadnought is coming out, but the counters are already here on the field. Bestie is solidifying his lead, dropping some energy shields down. There is basically nothing to counter these Guardians right now, because there are no Stern Guard, there are no attacks, only Scouts. And when these Guardians have their full upgrades, Scouts have no chance, even fully upgraded. The ASM, of course, are very scared to engage as well because of this Witchblade Warlock, because of the Wraith Lord. Yeah, I just see this being a pretty awkward position. Bestie is going tier 3. I mean, there could be a Prism fairly soon. Oh, there could be Seer Council. I mean, either one of them will be an absolute nightmare for Cry to deal with. And I would be very shocked if he can come back into this game. For the Emperor used once again on the ASM, unfortunately for them, they don't have their Sergeant. So there's going to be no Merciless Witchblade, sorry, no Merciless Strike to knock over these Banshees. But the Dreadnought is there to support. I feel like these ASM will be bleeding a lot all game though. Lots of dead ASM models. Wraith Lord in range stance, just trying to bash a few gens. Guardian's a bit too quick for the Dreadnought. Poor Shotgun Scouts, rather hopelessly trying to shoot at the Wraith Lord there. Oh, here comes the push. Force Commander running into melee. We've got a Melter Bomb. Can he use Flesh over Steel? Flesh over Steel? There we go. Stuns it with Flesh over Steel. Much easier to do the stun with Flesh over Steel if you Melter Bomb the Wraith Lord first, so that he's slowed down. And the Dreadnought gets into melee. Do we see a multi-melter? We do see a multi-melter. So the multi-melter will help the Dreadnought secure the kill on this Wraith Lord as it tries to flee. Where is the Bright Lance? Okay, so the Bright Lance is already set up in position. We see the Guardians doing double repairs onto the Wraith Lord. The Wraith Lord knows it needs to get into melee where it can do a lot of damage against the Dreadnought because it doesn't have melee resist, but the Force Commander's there to support the Dreadnought with a Power Fist. I think the Force Commander now going to try and move into melee with the Bright Lance to try and save his Dreadnought. But even aspect of Fleetness Banshees, probably wishing he had aspect of Strength there. Even aspect of Fleetness Banshees do pretty good damage to the multi-melter Dreadnought because it lacks that melee resist. Now we do have double repairs from the Scouts, but unfortunately repairing units cannot move. Like, you can't path through them, and an Eldritch Storm gets dropped down in the base to try and snag the Dreadnought, and it does. One of the peripheral lightning bolts from the Eldritch Storm actually takes out that Dreadnought, and now There is a fire prism on the way. The scouts get wiped out by Guardian fire. Look at the damage from these Guardians, really putting in the work. Fully upgraded Guardians are so good. Any light infantry really needs to fear this squad. And Cry basically loses everything there, recognizing Bestie is in tier 3. He throws in the towel, and that is going to be a GG. But because Cry won that winner's bracket, that means we are now in a 1-to-1 game state for the finals of this league. Let's see what the next game has in store for us. Hello there, folks. Here we are. We got Bestie and Cry again. We're going to have Bestie on the mech boy this time, Cry on the tech marine. Well, do you have deja vu? Because this is exactly like the game that we had in the winners bracket finals, where Cry won it quite handily, actually, playing exactly the same heroes on exactly the same map. Now, I feel like Bestie just couldn't really get a lot of value out of his mech boy early on. That mech boy needs to be hunting scouts and getting rid of them. But there was only one scout anyway, because Cry went for double tax, and it's interesting because he's deviating from that now. Why? It worked so well before. Why would you deviate from it? This is very interesting. Though, the thing that is a little different is Cry is actually playing Techie and not Force Commander. So maybe he feels like, as the Tech Marine, he can't defend his tax from melee as well as the Force Commander. So for that reason, it's better to go for 2 scouts. I don't know. Cry, I'm no doubt sure you're going to be watching this. Post in the comments below, why are you going 2 scouts with the Techie? Why did you go 2 tax earlier with the FC on the same map versus the mech boy? Anyway. Now, Bestie had a big engagement in that previous game, and he ended up losing his sluggers in the engagement. It was an engagement around here with a load of shotguns. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. He also got Storm Boys, and I think, you know, Storm Boys are pretty legitimate versus all the Space Marine heroes. Wow, this is weird. Fast shotguns here. I was going to say, Storm Boy is probably even better against the Tech Marine. We'll see. I would expect to see some Bionics. Certainly if some Storm Boys come out, Bionics would be very good. Imagine if you had Bionics here to hit them in retreat. Bionics does full damage to units in retreat, so can be quite effective. Yeah, we're going to see the Storm Boys. Nothing too surprising there. A little bit of a micro error here, I feel. I don't think he needs to spend the time fully capping that point when you know that the scouts are only going to come and get rid of it. Better to actually actively use the mech and get rid of the scouts, but whatever. These scouts running around with 2 models is so unfortunate for Cry. I mean, just think about it. That's a 33% reduction in their damage. That's so unlucky, because look at their HP. It was just one of the models who was bloody stood at the front. But as you would expect, the combined arms there from Tax, Tech Marine, and upgraded scouts, obviously the basic Orc boys can't really compete with that. The Orcs require their upgrades to be effective. So they do get forced off, and map control is definitely in Cry's favour so far. 2 gens coming up for Cry, 1 gen coming up for the mech boy. I would expect some more gens to come down from Bestie. Yeah, there you go, there's the other one. Now he waits on the gens to get out his Storm Boys with optimal time, whereas Cry has to get more gens early on because he opted to go for the fast upgrade. So if you go for the fast upgrade and you don't get a lot of gens down quickly, you're going to delay your tier 1.5 massively because you're going to be way too behind on power. Big shooters out on one of the shooter boys as well as the Storm Boys jump in there. A little bit surprised not to see him in what's that. Oh, there we go, Bionics has come out on the Tech Marine as well. Interesting. So this is a very thin, tall build from Cry so far. Do we have any... Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, double fully upgraded shotgun scouts is the play here. So, going to be low on pop, low on upkeep. But, you know, there's a heavy investment in the Tech Marine and scouts, both of whom should be countered quite well by fully upgraded shooters. So, I would like to see fully upgraded shooters from Bestie. Good Stormboy usage could be extremely effective here. None of these guys are good in melee, but you've got to be careful because you retreat at the wrong time, you can die very easily to Bionics and retreat nades. Stormboys also have that sort of dash into melee, very vulnerable to being nade spiked. So we'll see how he uses his Stormboys. I think that's really what this is going to come down to. I was just going to say I'd like to see a big shooter on the mech boy, make him so much more effective against these scouts. Right now we've got a really good timing push from Cry. He did incur a loss of 2 generators and his power node at that last engagement. So now he feels a little bit pressured. Not a bad grenade there, huge damage to the Storm Boys. Already some of the models are popping. The battery pack heal comes down from the Mech Boy, but unfortunately 2 of the models are already dead, so it doesn't heal them that much as a squad. And then there is a Bionics to disrupt the Orcs, but there are simply too many Orcs. Shooters from the Mech Boy and the Shooter Boys themselves promptly force off that Scout Squad, and then the Tactical Marines and the Tech Marine, well, they're tied up in melee and the Bionics is on cooldown, so there's not really a whole lot they can do. So they have to retreat out of there, but let's have a look at the economy, shall we? Okay, looking at the wreck income, actually, Cry isn't even getting that much more wreck. Does he have, yeah, equal amount of points on the map? I guess just the Orcs don't have any knob leaders yet, so their squads are very low on upkeep. Whereas these scouts are actually quite high on upkeep, because they do, of course, have their sergeants. More Dakar Global coming down from the Mech Boy and these shooters, going to increase their rate of fire, and thus their DPS for a short period of time. Going to make them get this gem bash off a little bit quicker. Stormboys here trying to do something with the free models that they do have, but the Shotgun Scouts come out and disrupt them and stop that, which is good. Both players are really focusing on trying to disrupt the opponent's power income as much as possible at this point. We see another upgrade here, Mastercrafted Bolter and the Tech Marine, a very, very small increase to his DPS, but mostly you get it for that ability, high-powered shot, 140 sniper damage, point-and-click ability, can't be dodged, basically no counterplay, snipes a model, and even more importantly, it suppresses the entire squad. So you can use that, just help you in a ranged firefight, stop the enemy shooting. You can use it to set up a grenade hit, so they can't dodge it. If they're suppressed, they can't move away. And you can use it just to slow down approaching melee units. But yeah, not really the Storm Boys, of course, because they can just jump. We'll see how it goes. Once again, the Tacs are pushing forward, trying to get a bit of a gen bash. Storm Boys are going to disrupt the Tacs, and Shotgun Scouts are right behind them. Unfortunately, the grenade was nowhere near as effective this time, and in fact, if Storm Boys get another jump, these Tactical Marines could end up being killed in retreat. They're not going to risk it, though. Now, these Storm Boys do have the full 5 models right now, so if the Mech Boy comes in and gives them a nice battery pack heal, they're going to heal up to full HP. Okay, not anymore. Oh, not anymore. Too late, Bestnoob. God. Only down to 2 models by the time he gets that battery pack heal. I don't know what he was waiting for. He could have easily teleported forward. He didn't have to slowly walk over. It's a very strange play from Bestnoob. I dare say he is extremely rusty for this finals, it would seem. So that was very sloppy. Really sloppy. And then he ended up losing 3 models rather unnecessarily. You know, he probably could have just won the entire engagement just with the Storm Boys and Mech Boy if he got that heal. They would have forced off the Tacs, and then the Mech Boy can just melee the Tech Marine. Yes, he gets the Bionics off, but I don't know. Whatever. Pressure's on right now. So drop pods come down, you've got an extra Tactical Marine that's out in the field. Just a lot of map pressure. The Tacs with their 50% extra capping speed, they really need some melee here to counter them. Like, the shooters are very ineffective, as you can see. And the Shoot Boys, they bleed a lot less now that they've got their knobs, and it's certainly good that they do have them, but they're still bleeding. And here Storm Boys go in to try and deal with the Tech Marine because he's in that green cover, and boom! A really powerful sweep. Doing a lot of damage to the Orc Boys there. I think they only killed 1 boy, but yeah, just such huge damage. The thing with that armor does give it a little bit of HP regen too. 1 HP regen, so... And what's the max HP increase? 150, wow. Yeah, really nice armor. Very versatile. Doesn't give you as much HP regen as you get from the mine armor, so not really as effective against ranged units. You know, if you get the Artificer armor, the armor that gives you the mines on the Tech Marine, you get 3 HP per second regen. So you put him in green cover with 3 HP per second regen, he's almost like a Plague Marine in Tier 1. He just never dies to ranged fire. But yeah, versus melee, you would just tie him up. You would need a detector nearby though in case he drops a mine on you. However, against these melee threats, getting the Bionics armor makes a whole lot of sense, even if you don't want to get the axe in Tier 2. But if you do want to get the axe, it gives you that extra synergy because Bionics increases your melee damage by 20%. Anyway, here we go again. Tac Flamer comes out, trying to put on a bit of pressure. These Slugger Boys unfortunately lacking any burners right now, so they're a little bit less durable, and they do a lot less damage to the Tactical Marines as well, because they won't have that extra 30% damage on 2 of their models because of the power melee of the burners. Both players are going into Tier 2 at a very similar time right now, but honestly, map control favouring Cry, VP lead massively in Cry's favour, and right now, a really good timing push from Cry. So Storm Boys here get caught out by Scouts, who should be able to kite them relatively easily. Ooh, but the Storm Boy Nob's coming in already. This could be a game changer. Are there any Sergeants that attacks? No, there's not. Okay, this is going to be a tricky engagement. There's the Storm Boy Nob. What about the Slugger Nob? Is he coming in? No, there is no Slugger Nob. Right, yeah, Storm Boys need to focus on the attacks. Utilise that power melee damage that they do have, but they get forced off. There's a lot of focus fire on them. It appears that Cry focused them the most, which makes sense. They're the highest damage unit. Wow, those Tactical Marines getting very lucky, getting out with 50 HP, getting quite close to death. The Slugger Nob's going to come in very soon, but maybe a little bit too late. Ooh, comes in and eats a grenade to the face! But more Daka once again on these Shooter Boys, fully upgraded Shooter Boys, melt those Scouts. And now the War Truck's here. Slugger Nob was momentarily left on his own there, but it's alright. We've got more boys coming out of the truck to reinforce him. Then the Daka manages to force off the Tech Marine, and all of a sudden, very quickly, the roster of Cry is looking quite thin indeed. 5 units on Bestie's side to only 3 of Cry, and these are quite dilapidated. No Sergeants yet on either Tactical Marine. They're going to really struggle to have an impact against the more elite Tier 2 Orc melee squads with their Nobs now. Tax can definitely tango with the Orcs in melee in Tier 1 to an extent. They certainly put up a fight even if they don't really want to be doing it. But once those Nob leaders come out of the Orc melee squads, Tax have got absolutely no chance. Certainly without their Sergeant, but even with their Sergeant. So the order of choice here is going to be an Assault Cannon Dreadnought. Well, a Dreadnought, but I'm assuming it's going to be an Assault Cannon. Assault Cannon Dreadnought's just beautiful against the Orcs. Now, it wouldn't surprise me as the game progresses if we see the Signum armor on the Tech Marine as well. That's reduction in the damage resistance on the enemy squads. It's really useful against Storm Boys and Slugger Boys when they charge in to focus fire them and get rid of them quickly. And I think they are the primary threat right now. We see the level 1 Tactical Marines that were called in via the drop pod upgrading to Stern Guard. A little bit tricky. You generally want to keep your higher level ones, but unfortunately, you know, they'd only lost 1 model and there's 2 models gone on this one, so it's 75 down the drain. But then again, these guys had the Flamer as well, so it makes sense, yeah. Higher level and with the Flamer, yeah, you might as well swap the other guys to Stern Guard. So the Stern Guard would be able to easily punch the Mech Boy to death, but of course the Sluggers are approaching, and they don't want any of that. A little bit of pew-pew going onto the War Truck there from the Stern Guard, but the Sluggers are just going to tie them with melee, and that's the end of it. Dreadnought, however, not something you want to try and tie up in melee. Any response from the Mech yet? No. So the Mech obviously can get his BME Def Gun. Generally a bit better against transports, because it's a mobile, it's a setup team. It doesn't have crazy high DPS, but it does have decent damage per hit, so you can kill transports quite easily, and you can chase them by teleporting after them. But yeah, Walker can generally tie up the Mech Boy quite easily when he uses that BME Def Gun, and it also takes a lot of hits. So we're not seeing that yet, we've just got some Tank Busters. And the Tank Busters are actually going to be a lot more effective than they might often be in the Space Marine matchup, because there's no ASM. Quite often when you get Tank Busters to try and deal with the Dreadnought, it kind of doesn't work, because the enemy has ASM, and they just jump your Tank Busters with the ASM. By the time you finally force off the ASM with your melee, the bloody Dreadnought's now in melee with you, and you've got nothing to kill it, as they then force off your Tank Busters. So, that's annoying. But it's going to be better for Bestie in this. Oh, that's so unlucky. Look at where the Tank Busters came out. That's ridiculous. Oh, they spawned on the wrong side of the wall, and he used more Daka as well on them. Oh, that's so unlucky. Poor Bestie. I feel bad for him there. Wanted to get a nice bit of damage on the Dreadnought there, and it was a complete epic failure. He then goes in to chase the Dreadnought, and there's suddenly Stern Guard there with Vengeance rounds, so they dissuade the War Truck. This is looking tough for Bestie, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is not looking good. Missile tactical marines are out as well. Like this war truck. It's not got the extra armor yet. It is going to die so fast. 130 damage from each missile from that missile launcher. Boom. 137 HP on the war truck. A couple of tickling shots from the vengeance rounds, which are now in, and the missile launcher kills it. Bomber Boys comes down there to try and disrupt the tac blob from the Storm Boys, but the only AV on the field is the tank busters, and this is the issue. The Dreadnought, all it has to do is chase after the tank busters, and then it's immortal. Once they retreat, there is nothing else to counter it. So typically you would get two sources of AV. You'd have the mech boy over here and the tank buster here. So while the Dreadnoughts are trying to chase down the tank busters, your mech boy's just getting 3 shots in. But when you've only got 1, that happens, and it's kind of rough. I see some Gretchens called out. Very cheap unit. Can be used to decap points. We're not seeing any upgrades on them yet, so I assume that is the only reason that he's got them, just to try and help him with the map control. Definitely has a map control problem right now. I mean, they can also be thrown into melee in a pinch to try and tie something up, but they're certainly not very good at it. They do about 4 DPS in melee, which is the equivalent of a guardsman lasgun. There's only 6 of them with very little HP. It's generally not a great idea. But we'll see. Might be getting the repair variant to support the war truck so that the Slugger Boys can continue to do things like this, harassing the other side of the map. Slugger Boys certainly do punish the Stern Guard and the Tactical Marines very well. Storm Boys get onto the Stern Guard and Sluggers get onto the Tacs. Well, neither of them can fire their AV shots anymore. Suddenly the war truck is going to find itself in a far better position. Bit of a strange choice here from Pride, going for a Plasma Devastator. I guess he wants to win this game on VPs. He's going to place it like here, cover his natural or something? Maybe. Find it a bit of an odd choice. Personally, I think he needs ASM right now. If he has the Melter Bomb, not only does that do nice spike damage to his truck. Actually, I don't know if you've seen this truck, because it is a second truck. Oh man, could get a nice missile. No, no. Ooh. Truck stops to deposit a bunch of boys. Still in a pretty precarious position. These Marines are very low on HP. I assume he's waiting for a drop pod or something. Ooh, here we go. Assault Cannon Dreadnought is out at last. There you go. That's the opening barrage. Ooh, quite a good one. Not perfect. Oh, the retreat path though. They're in the retreat path. The melee Dreadnought. Oh. The Dreadnought's melee attacks plus the Stern Guard damage over time, and both of the Shooter Boys wipe. What a brutal retreat path, all caused by a brutal Assault Cannon barrage. The Grots actually have their Grot Orderlies. They've got their healing upgrade, so that gives them a little regen aura, kind of like the Apo, and it also gives them a little heal over time. It's not a very good heal over time. It immobilizes the Orc squad and only heals them 100 HP, but you know, it's alright. It's okay to heal up like your Knobs and your Storm Boys and Sluggers if they're disproportionately lower HP than the boys. But yeah, nothing can really deal with the Dreadnought right now. He still has his Truck Busters, but you know, I don't know what they're gonna do, to be honest. Oh, look at the control. High-powered shot going in straight away, just cooking them Storm Boys. Hellfire rounds and shotguns, they can't really get much done. I mean, they need to be with other units. They can't just be going in on their own against the big Tech Marine range blob like that. It's ridiculous. Where are the P-Devs? What are they doing? Oh my god, the P-Devs are all the way down here at the Natural VP of Bestie. That's very aggressive P-Dev usage. I was going to say, Bestie's going in for the decap there with the Sluggers. Why aren't the P-Devs like over here to protect it? I thought that's why he was getting them, but very aggressive. Instead they're rotating around this way. See how they do. Could get a nice shot against the war truck here. Looks like they're gonna. That is some pretty good damage. Wow. One more shot from those P-Devs and that war truck is dead. Where are the Grots? And then the Gretchen are all the way down here with the Death Dread. This is ridiculous. Feels like they're quite mispositioned now. Okay, P-Devs turn around. Looks like the Dreadnought just kills the war truck in melee. Sluggers are going to get on the P-Devs and can really destroy them, but there is a turret as well. That's quite a problem. And the issue now... Oh, wait, what's Cry doing? He didn't force melee on the tank busters with the Dreadnought. Oh, he just killed his own Grots with the tank buster barrage. I guess that's to be expected, they're only Grots. Kind of really lucky there to get such a great special attack from the Dreadnought. Ends up wiping the tank busters, that was super lucky. Blessing of the Omnissiah is down, so that's giving constant repairs to the Dreadnought, but this is a ranged Dreadnought, so it doesn't actually have melee resist, so the Death Dread is doing a lot more damage than it otherwise would. Quite a lot of repair support going in here though, but I don't think it's going to be enough, certainly with the Stormboys coming out as well to disrupt the repair support. Yeah, the Dreadnought gets it! I meant the Death Dread gets it. I guess the Dreadnought gets it in the face with a buzzsaw. So the Dreadnought goes down, another bomb, boys. Seems kind of like a waste, not gonna lie. I mean, this is a pretty tight game on VPs. We've got another drop pod coming in? We must do, right? I don't know why Cry keeps coming out with such low amounts of models and HP. I feel like he's been doing it so much that there should be a cooldown in his drop pod. Custom force field for the mech boy. This is a really good war gear in this instance. It's a great capping war gear. Reduce the damage taken by range attacks and just send any melee troops flying, even Terminators. Really good. But he's not going for the decap right now. Can't, because Plasma Dev, I guess. Just going to knock him over. This is the power of the P-Dev when it comes to capping. You don't normally see it that much in 1v1. In 3v3, oh, it is a nightmare. When you got maps with two very safe natural VP points and one VP in the middle, and you just see P-Devs on each side knocking you over constantly and you can never bloody cap. But yeah, I mean, it's doing it right now in 1v1 too, but this is tricky. Not a lot of wreck for Cry. I really am getting a little bit triggered by the fact that he has these tacks out with basically no models. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, yeah, the P-Devs are setting up in the position that I kind of thought they would have been in the first place. Bit of an awkward angle. I feel like if the Orcs are capping from this side, you're going to hit the pillar. Probably better to be up like this way. So the Death Dread is getting repaired by the Sluggers because unfortunately the Tank Busters have blown up his own Grots. Any of the Grots can repair, it's just the normal Grots. Well, any Grot that isn't a dedicated repair crew Grot will only repair at 5 HP a second, so half of the usual repair unit effectiveness. And that was a super desperate attempt at decapping there with the custom force field up. But the mech boy was too low on HP and, you know, he's getting shot at by this level 7 Tech Marine. Wow, that is so high level. Level 4 Shotgun Scouts as well. I guess a lot of boys have died. Level 4 Tax and even the Stern Guard, which obviously come in much later in the game, only arriving in Tier 2. They themselves are level 3. Now we do have a bit of a push on the east side. The Death Dread did get its full repairs and pushed up with the Sluggers and the Storm Boys. Looks like they forced off the P-Devs, which had to retreat back to the base. Not much they can do against a Death Dread. Hellfire rounds. No, Dragonfire rounds loaded in for the Stern Guard. That must have been a misclick. There's no cover. Definitely want those Hellfires with their damage over time, and we see more attacks. Bionics still coming in useful for the Tech Marine, and yeah, these Storm Boys are just going to wipe. Damage over time with the Hellfires. He's not even going for it because right now the priority is just VPs. I think that is a mistake. I think his Hellfire rounds definitely could have killed those Storm Boys. But, that's what it is. Stern Guard need to go over to these missile attacks, load in their Vengeance rounds and try and support them against the Death Dread. These missile attacks could end up dying in retreat here. No they won't because they can reinforce off of the drop pod, which they're not doing. Yes, they are now. There's no wreck. Ooh, and a Melter Gun on the Tech Marine as well. Yeah, this Death Dread's dead. There's no VPs for Bestie. 17. He's trying to cap that desperately, but there is now a Devastator squad here. Crysis played a really good VP game in the end. So there was actually a second Death Dread. I didn't even realise that was getting brought out onto the field, and it arrives a little bit late. Ooh, you know, if that arrived a little bit sooner, one of them could have dealt with the missile attacks, one of them could have dealt with perhaps the Tech Marine. Now, it's still tough, because you're still getting shot by the Vengeance rounds. That P-Dev's still doing good spike damage. Bestie just losing too many units, to be honest. And honestly, I don't know how this happened in the league in terms of the counter pick system, But Bestie going for the mech boy once again on this map against Crysis SM seems strange given how much that Bestie struggled in the initial game. But hey, he made a real scrap of it this time, did a lot better, really dragged that one out, but unfortunately, it's going to go to Cry. So the score now, given that Cry came in from the winner's bracket, so he gets an automatic win, that's how it works for this league, is now 2-1 to Cry. So Cry only needs to win one more game in order to close this out. Bestie needs to win 2 more. On to the next one then. Check it out, lads. We've got Tyranids on display. Can you believe it? I know, it's hard to believe, but I love it. It's a good map for Tyranids because there's a lack of cover. And yeah, benefits the big niddies quite a lot. But they're fighting against the mech boy, so... Huh, that's interesting. I guess for this tournament, you can play the same hero over and over. Because he was just playing the mech boy. That's a really weird tournament format. Wait, this is League! I'm so confused. Why is there another mech boy? Didn't he just play the mech boy? He definitely just played the mech boy. What the fuck? Why is he using the mech boy twice in a row? I don't understand. Anyway, maybe this isn't even a league? Was this a random 1v1 tournament? It might have been. Look, whatever guys, I don't know. This is the finals of a 1v1 tournament. And it's between Bestie and Cry. That's all I know right now. Anyway, on to the actual game. So, Spawnmine's coming out and triple shooters. Oh, Bestie always does this shit, man. To be honest, triple shooters on this map, very effective. Because again, lack of green cover. So sheer amount of overwhelming range DPS can be very strong. You know, to that note, Raveners might be quite useful. Generally, Raveners are seen as more of a melee counter and not a ranged counter. So, maybe not. We'll see. Of course, they can still jump onto the ranged units to disrupt them and beat them up in melee, but not as tanky as ASM.
This power node is mine. Don't be touched.
Ooh, we added to the post.
Nice early VP lead for the Ravener, but that's obviously to be expected with the mobility of tunnels and Tyranids combined.
Who's right out? They ain't marching anywhere now.
Shooter boys pushed all the way back into the base, but unfortunately a bit of an overextension really from the Hormagaunts there. I think that Hormagaunt there is a bit of a badass. He actually procced a special. You don't see Hormagaunt specials too often. They can do it against tier 1 ranged squads. Funny really, because it's not really that effective to proc specials against ranged squads. You want to be proccing them against melee. But it is what it is. Okay, the Sluggers go charging in, force off that Ravener. They're eyeing up that tunnel, but there are Spore Mines guarding it, so they don't want to get in too close. However, I feel like Spore Mines are going to be made very quick work of by triple shooters. The Warriors there, you see, they're meant to be the resilient nids. They're the heavy infantry ones with only 3 models, but wow did they take a lot of damage on approach there. Look at what we've got. We've got triple shooters, 2 of whom already have their big shooters, and the 3rd of which is now getting their big shooters. But here comes the blob of Tyranids. I imagine he's going to want to try and focus down these Spore Mines, prevent them from spreading their filthy diseases onto all boys. Warriors extremely hesitant to engage there, especially given that there is a squad of Slugger boys ready to chop them up with their choppers. Now they're moving back in. Termagant's trying to do a little bit of poke. Oh, these Warriors do not want to engage. Yep, that was inevitable. Absolutely inevitable, and the backlash is brutal. Now the Hormagaunts have to retreat through the Sluggers. Not ideal. In this instance, I mean, you'd want a Bow Strangler, right? There is no jump squad to tie it up because there's no Storm Boys. He's actually not only invested in triple shooters, but he's actually upgraded them quite a lot. So he's not going to have Storm Boys anytime soon. You can shut down all these shooters at once with a single shot from your Bow Strangler if they blob up like this. Of course, a good player, once he sees that you've got the Bow Strangler, will split his shooters up, but you can generally still hit at least 2 of them with each shot. And then your Termagants have a bit more of a decent chance to actually win the ranged firefight, certainly with the synapse provided by the Warriors as well. But we'll see. Looks like the Ravener and the Mech Boy have been busy down the bottom part of the map, just trading points. Warriors were coming out there to try and prevent the Gem Bash, but they just don't have enough HP on their own. Why are they engaging on their own against these heavily upgraded shooter boys? Fully upgraded this squad, and the other two squads do have their big shooters. So that is some serious commitment into those shooter boys. 85 power to be exact, and a bucket ton of requisition as well. Ooh, electric armor from the Mech Boy going to really punish these termagants. Nothing really here to counter-initiate. The Mech Boy is going to get pinned by one of the crippling poisons, and now potentially the Hormagaunts can get onto them. These Hormagaunts coming out, but oh my god, they just get melted! Holy shit. Probably killed on retreat by shooter boys. Brutal. But this, honestly, is really questionable engagement choices from Cry. I don't know why he doesn't have a Barb Strangler for a start. Barb Strangler is now coming. A little bit late on that. It is definitely necessary. But very, very late. We'll see how it does. We'll see how it does. He's definitely on the back foot right now, because whilst both players have 4 units, the units here from Bestie are way more powerful. These guys have had 45 power dumped into each of them, for God's sake. The Gaunts have only had 15 power. And they're cheaper in the first place. This Orc army is scary right now. Cry needs to do something about it. I mean, he's got the best counter, the Barb Strangler, but he needs to make sure he crippling poisons these sluggers. I think perhaps the reason why he didn't go for the Barb Strangler, now I'm just realising, is the Mech Boy. The Mech Boy could just teleport in and tie it up in melee. This is a really shitty matchup. Gotta be honest with you, this is kind of shitty. Because it only gets worse in tier 2 for the Tyranids. Because as soon as the Orc melee gets their knob leaders with their power melee and crazy HP, Warriors have an even worse time. And of course, Gaunts don't have any leadership upgrades in tier 2. They get buffs from the melee and ranged synapse, but compared to the Slugger Knob, it's not really going to be that strong. Yeah, so the Raveners now come out. I mean, you need this. You need this. You need the Raveners to focus fire down the Mech Boy when he teleports in. One crippling poison goes onto these sluggers, one goes onto the Mech Boy. Warriors disengage. Raveners then burrow onto these sluggers to knock them back, disrupt these shooters. Raveners are going to have to then get out there. But then hopefully you can suppress them with your Warriors, and yeah, you have a bit of a chance. I think even then, you've given so much time for the triple shooters to do their work that it's probably going to be quite tough. But I'm not actually accounting for Hormagaunts. Now, with Hormagaunts in there, yeah, you can win that for sure. You can win that, definitely, compositionally. But Cry's basically, he's got these units way too late. He's gone for this second Hormagaunt earlier and just thrown it away. He needed the Barb Strangler out way earlier. Look at the power of the Barb Strangler in that instance. The Mech Boy did teleport in, trying to deal with it. Now the Mech Boy's going to die. Force melee on that bastard. Bit of a miss micro, the Raveners going into the wall there instead of the Mech Boy himself, but nonetheless he does actually kill the Mech Boy, and that is going to keep Cry in this game for sure. Some more tunnels coming up from the Ravener Alpha, some very forward tunnels there, so his Hormagaunts can reinforce and get into them, pop out right into the front lines very promptly. Unfortunately, when you do use those Ravener tunnels, it turns off your auto-reinforce, and clearly Cry has forgot about that because these Hormagaunts are not reinforcing. Cry is actually very wreck-starved. It's a little bit worrying, to be honest. He is not even close to starting his tier 2 tech, whereas Bestie is already over halfway there. A fast Death Dread here could be the end of this game. It's not even necessary, you can definitely just go for a War Truck as well. As I say, even without the War Truck, the Slugger Knobs are so powerful in this matchup. Such a great map for the triple shooters due to the lack of green cover. There's just no respite from them. Daka, Daka, Daka.
Boss, we's just hit tier 2. We've got all them new units ready for ya.
Where's my Death Dread? That'll show them bugs.
Death Dread's en route. Cry hasn't even started his tier 2 tech. He's not even close, man. He's only got 91 power. 2 gens. Only 1 point. Yeah, Cry's fucked. Sorry, but he's fucked, guys. There's no way. There's no way he can do this. The Death Dread is going to get rid of his remaining power. And he's screwed. There is now the Slugger Knob. This guy's an absolute demon. Absolute demon. Triple the HP. Triple the DPS of a normal boy. And he buffs up the HP of all the other boys in the squad. Mental. So strong. I'm a little bit confused as to why Bestnoob is playing the mech boy. Okay, look, I'll drop it. I'm just confused. I thought this was League. But you have to change your heroes. You can only use them once per series, but evidently not. Must have been some other tournament format. Wow, Ravenous, man, look at that. I don't know what they were doing, why they were so far forward against a blob of shooters with a Death Dread in the retreat path. Ravener is really doing his best to keep the map control pressure on. I feel like he's been pushing this victory point all game, doing a great job of it, but it's not enough. You know, in Cry's defense, he definitely does have the victory point lead, but how long can he actually hold on for crying out loud? He's only just going tier 2 now. He's going to lose all of his gen farm. And these Orc troops are just getting stronger and stronger. Look at the difference in the levels. The Nids just aren't killing that many Orcs. Right now, Cry needs like 6 million different upgrades. Yeah, this is brutal. I already predicted, though I didn't say it, the Storm Boys after the Death Dread. Because how do you kill a Death Dread as the Nids? Get a Venom Brood. There's just going to be overwhelming melee with a Death Dread, with Sluggers, and with Storm Boys. There is overwhelming melee. The Nids need like... they just need so much right now. Oh, he lost the Termagant as well. Oh, this is so bad. He needs Gene Stealers, he needs Endless Swarm and all his Gaunts, he needs like... I don't even know, he needs some sort of War Gear on his Ravener. He needs either the Acid Splatter to control the melee, the Corrosive Devourer to put pressure onto the Death Dread. But he's just... he can't get any of it because he's got no wreck. By the time he gets something like the Gene Stealers out, I swear there's going to be a Weird Boy and then he's going to be able to stun it with Warp Vomit. It's just... it feels doomed. It feels doomed. And whilst Cry does have the victory point lead right now, I just don't see how he can fathomably maintain that lead for much longer. Oh, the dead Tyranids. That is a lot of dead Raveners and Warriors. They are very expensive. You know, Gaunts are one thing. When you've got this many dead Raveners and Warriors, yikes. That's why Cry took so long to get to tier 2. Not much to say right now, players just posturing up for a big fight. Stormboys feel like they're kind of out of position here, they need to be on the east side to support the Death Dread. You can just instantly jump on that Venom Brood wherever it pops its ugly head. Another Ravener squad, that's pretty good, I like that. That scales well when you've got the ranged synapse. He doesn't even have the ranged synapse upgrade yet. For God's sake. But yeah, Death Dread's super out of position here. No Storm Boys. Okay, they are here. They're coming. Oh wow, they might actually live. Oh. Cry just used Catalyst as well to increase the damage of that Venom Brood massively. But he had to retreat because they got jumped by the Storm Boys. Oh, that is so unlucky. So close to killing the Death Dread there. Literally a matter of seconds, you know. the Storm Boys had moved seconds later, then that would have been a Death Dread. The problem is that Cry can't even get any power up now because every time he attempts, the shooters of the Death Dread would just destroy it so fast. Yeah, shooters coming down to scout, see if there's any more power. No doubt they would have destroyed it if so. They obviously noticed that there isn't any. They back off back to the contested VP. VP's, like, have a look at this. Wow, here we go again. Torpid, the fucking Sage, calls it again. Here's a weird boy, and you know what? Cry hasn't even got any of the shit that I said he needed. Can you see if they've got their Endless Swarm? I feel like that plus sign's just from getting Adrenal Glands, not Endless Swarm, so I don't know. But either way, there's no Gene Stealers. Raven is dead. It's just not gonna cut it. It's just not gonna cut it. And then to counter all that shit, there's the weird boy, which I can't even select. There he is, because he's not on the UI at the bottom. Madness. Tyrant Guard comes out. Don't really see what Tyrant Guard's gonna do. I feel like he needs Gene Stealers. Oh my god. Special attack from the Death Dread there, absolutely wrecking that poor Venom Brood. Storm Boys force the retreat. Burner's actually killing one of the Venom Brood models there from the Death Dread. Death Dread could actually walk forward and just destroy the bloody tunnel at this point. Who cares? Yeah, just there you go. Oh, you hate to see it. Poor Nids. The tunnel's getting broken in the base. What's happening over here? Palmagons and Warriors getting beaten by Shooter Boys, even though that's what they're meant to counter. Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, these Palmagons have 270 HP, they're screwed. Oh wow. Shooter Boys popping that Venom Brood model, causing Synaptic Backlash. Tyrant Guard getting a nice little bit of work down there, actually killing the Storm Boy Nob and one of the boys, but I don't know, man, it's just too little too late. Death Dread, I guess, got suicided into the base. Yeah. I don't know. He does have a VP lead. But he's got no power. It's hopeless. He has no power. He can't even reinforce his units fully. He's got no eco whatsoever. Or Cry. Any hero upgrades? No hero upgrades. Just the electric armor still on the mech. Alright, I'm kind of shocked those shooters didn't do a little barrage onto the Raveners before they retreat there. Weird Boy just camping this point actually to defend it from decaps. Interesting. It's a fair play, I guess. There you go. Another dead Ravener. No way Rippers are off. They don't want to take a fight with Sluggers. Or Storm Boys. If anything, Rippers should be tying up the Weird Boy right now to allow an actual decap at this point. They're not. Governor Alpha's going over to do that himself. Too much Orcs. Shooters coming out again. Force off the Raveners. They're going to lose another model in retreat. This is madness. Bloody hell, they didn't. I don't know how they got out with two models there. VP's almost evened out now at this point. Tyrant Guard looking hella isolated against all these elite squads with power melee. It's likely going to go down here. Going to be forced into shield wall at the very least. I think the Storm Boys can actually out DPS the shield wall anyway. Yeah, it's down. It can tank, and if you have like spawn mines surrounding it, it can beat the melee squads. But yeah, on its own like that, not good. GG. Yeah, there's no way back for the Nids here. So there you go. It's 2-2, guys. It's 2-2. We've got one more game in this series. And that will determine our winner here. Let's see who that winner is gonna be. Well, boys, this is it. This is the grand finals. Like, the real grand finals. This is the final game of the grand finals of this event. It is 2-2 at the moment. So the winner of this match is going to win the entire tournament. Is it going to be Cry? Is it going to be Bestie? Let's find out. Clearly, using the same hero repeatedly is allowed, because we see the Mech Boy now for the third time. And he's going to be fighting up against Cry's Tech Marine, which we did already see actually. So yeah, here we go. Going to be a bit of a rematch from that Leviathan Hive map. Now, I would think that the Mech Boy had the advantage on Leviathan Hive because he has the mobility with the teleports and all that. And I feel like tactical marines, space marines themselves, not the scouts, but like the heavy infantry marines, are really annoying to deal with on this map because the distance from your base to the mid is so small. P-devs constantly can be blocking this VP and they only retreat for 2 seconds and then they seem to be back. ASM likewise. I think this is going to be so hard for Bestie, but I don't know, man. He clearly has a lot of faith in the Mech Boy, and look, I think Mech Boy is totally legit against Space Marines. I just don't think that this is a great map to fight Space Marines. I'd have probably took Eldar, to be honest. But you know, Bestie is definitely more of a Orc player. He has generally always been an IG and an Orc player, so we'll see what he can do here. Slugger Boys in this instance were saving up for their burners. They do now have them, but unfortunately can't utilise them against these attacks in this instance because they got too low on HP and the shotguns persuaded them to leave. Attacks then disembark that garrison with only 3 models left. Only? That's all their models. Attacks can't bleed. Yeah, they don't bleed. They get out of there. A lot of bleed actually going down onto Bestie's forces. It's like Bestie didn't even get the opportunity to capture the power points on this side, which is kind of crazy. All those boys, I guess, were dedicated to the combat in the centre of the map. But he has actually noded both of the powers here, so this is a natural power to Cry, but it's not a huge deal because Cry does own his other natural power down here. There are 2 natural powers in this map. Generally, these 2 would be regarded as the more safe. But yeah, at least he's got some generators coming up. Tech Marine getting very close to dying here, doesn't want to risk the actual finish of the capture of that VP. But honestly, the Mech Boy is very low on HP himself and needs to be very careful, or these shotgun scouts could put some pain onto him. I think the shotgun scouts, yeah, they are going to go over and deal with the Mech Boy. What's going on down here? Alright, shooters have forced off these shotgun scouts before they can get their sergeant upgrade, and Bestie reacts in time, so there is no snipe onto the Mech Boy from these scouts here. Scouts engaging with some shooters, not really got very good cover here, just these crates, yellow cover, and it looks like one of the models weren't even in cover. This is the problem with the shotguns, they have inferior range to typical small arm weapons. Therefore you can see the shooters easily able to force them off in that instance. This is one of the annoying things about the map. Normally those sluggers would be able to put on a lot of pressure onto the tactical marines, given that there is no bionics on the techie. Get into melee, get some specials, knock them over, force them off with a retreat. But nah, not on this map, because they can literally just run into the goddamn base turrets. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to fight these tacs on. Tacs, devs, ASM, they're all really annoying. P-devs in particular. I've already seen Cry use P-devs quite effectively once, so it'll be interesting to see if he does it again. Got to admit, sometimes it's the small things that make you impressed, but that was a beautiful dodge with the Storm Boys onto the foot nade onto the scouts just then. And now, of course, Bestie knows that the scouts have a lack of energy. He's going to go for that kill on the Tech Marine. Unfortunately, he does miss it. Now they do have the energy for the shotgun blast. Going to disrupt the Storm Boys, but here comes the Mech Boy. He's got that battery back heal. Tiny bit late again. One of the models already had died, but not as bad as before when he was using it on only 3 models. Shooter Boys do eventually get forced off by the scouts down here this time. Real tug of war down on this western portion of the map. And Bestie actually was forced to drop his gens down on this side, even though, like I said, it's generally considered to be a less safe part of the map. But he needs some power income. He hasn't really got a choice about the matter. Tech Marine coming out, putting on a lot of pressure as well. Got that mass crafted bolter once again. Kills 3 of those shooter boys. Attack's coming out of base with very low HP here. It's kind of risky. No big shooters though. So not too much to punish him for leaving with such low HP. Should have another high-powered shot, I would imagine. Yeah, there you go. Okay, what's going on down here? Attempted nade, hit some of the sluggers, but didn't actually kill any of them. Alright. Burner sluggers. Ooh, nice. This is a play. More Dakar on the burner sluggers, so they reload even faster. Wow, look at how fast they reloaded. That was actually really cool. Normally that animation takes forever. It's actually really nice global on these burner sluggers. Yeah, Stormboys tie up the tax, burner sluggers get to work on the gen farm. Cry knows this is a really vital engagement. To lose his entire farm right now would be an absolute disaster, because he has no way to actually deal with the farm of Bestie. So he drops in the tax here. Wait, was there no battery pack heal? Oh, you're kidding me, Bestnoob. For God's sake, man. I swear the battery pack heal was only like 40 energy or something. I don't understand why he couldn't have healed those slugger boys there. That's bad. Still, look, the shooters haven't been forced off. It looks like he is going to actually get the full gem bash. Storm boys on retreat. Do they kill a model? They do. They slay a tactical marine. Like, that is a brutal amount of bleed. Look at this. The other attacks are coming out of base with such low HP. Because Cry feels so pressured to try and prevent the gem bash. But honestly, it's kind of late. The gens are already gone. He's going to lose the node before these tacks even get there. He should just get those tacks back. Forget about it. Yeah, this is the right idea. Just go for a counter bash. Forget the capping with the other scouts. Send them over. Do your best to counter bash Bestnoob right now, because if he gets to tier 2 first and gets out a death dread, then you're never going to get gens again, and it's going to be a disaster. Alright, well the sluggers are out and they've actually tied up the shotgun scouts. Of course, there will be some grenades coming in. Okay, just a bit of shotgun blast, that's interesting. The question at this point is, what can actually deal with these shotgun scouts? So the mech boys come over, doing a bit of tickle. Bit of tickle and poke and tickle. Bionics once again at the Tech Marine. Yeets a bunch of Storm boys. And one scout's tucked down. Okay, so the mech boy is doing his job, it would appear. Deterring the scouts quite well, actually. Yep. Mech feels safe about this position. Bestie's going to drop down another gen. Ooh, interesting. Nice play. Nice play. That gen being nice and fresh meant it didn't have very good HP, so easily taken out with a couple of nades. More dead shooters thanks to that high-powered shot, but yeah, I feel like he's going to be regretting the fact he didn't shoot the slugger boys there. Slugger boys still in range stance, it would appear. Get knocked back by the bionics, healed by the battery pack, so it's quite inconsequential. Now the slugger boys just need to get into melee with the tactical marines. I feel like Cry's bleeding really more than Bestie is, to be honest. But Cry is actually tier 2. Yeah, I guess Bestie did actually go really heavy because he's fully upgraded both the shooters. He's got the battery pack and the Storm Boys. That's expensive. Way more expensive than just the 2 War Gears and the Scout upgrades. Alright. This looks like a bad engagement for Bestie. Bestie is actually tier 2 as well. He's got that Stormboy knob, but it's in literally the worst position that it could possibly be in here, fighting against 2 shotgun scouts. That's not where it wants to be. Oh, this is a bad position for these scouts here, retreating through tier 2. Oh no, it's only tier 1 sluggers. Don't worry about it, guys. Only tier 1 sluggers. Shit, even then, down to 13 HP. Somehow on 2 models. classic Space Marine things, what are you going to do? 4 models getting out there with 270 HP. And looks like Bestnoob's going to get a Gem Bash again on Cry. This is pretty bad. As I'm sure you guys are well aware, Space Marines are extremely power hungry in Tier 2. They just want to get so many upgrades, so many vehicles. Everything costs a bunch of power. Honestly, kind of surprised there haven't been more opportunities for retreat grenades on this map. It's kind of notorious for giving you some pretty dubious retreat paths that leave you vulnerable to that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I just see Cry bleeding quite a lot. Wow, as if that didn't kill one of these scouts. I don't know, I guess he's not bleeding that much because he's nearly got the requisition for a Dreadnought. I'm sure that's what he's saving up for. Again, like I said earlier, with the Tactical Marines, the ASM, the devs being so powerful in this map due to the short distance from the base to the mid, where all the combat happens. Same principle can be applied to an Assault Cannon Dreadnought, basically. Assault Cannon Dreadnought is going to be an absolute nightmare for Bestnoob to deal with on this map. I would definitely be getting the Beamy Death Gun if I see a Death Dread. Sorry, if I see a Dreadnought here. Actually, getting a Death Dread could be an interesting choice once Cry commits to getting the Assault Cannon on his Dreadnought. Then again, there are 2 attacks, so you can nearly guarantee that one of them will just go for the missile attack. BP super even right now. Well, in terms of the counter. In reality, it's about to actually be a triple cap against Cry. Oh no, the Tech Marine's working to prevent that. It will be for a very short period of time. A very short period of time, jeez. Tack's wandering out again with a few models. Yeah, okay, they're probably going to want to become Stern Guard. Quite liberal use of Mordaka from Bestnoob, I've noticed. I don't really see the utility using it there on the shoot boys. Like, that's not really that important of an engagement. I'd have just backed up if I felt like I couldn't deal with the Tech Marine. I don't really understand. Anyway, Tank Busters are going to be the play of choice for Bestnoob. Now, like I say, I would get Tank Busters, but then I would also get the Beamy Death Gun because you kind of need 2 sources of AV to be able to deal with a Dreadnought effectively. And if I was Cry, I would be thinking about getting some ASM out now to disrupt the inevitable Tank Busters. Of course, he wants the Stern Guard as well, but he is a little bit lacking in power right now. He's had to drop the gens down on this contested side because of all the pressure on the other side of the map. I'm sure Cry also wants to get some P-Devs out at some point, which, you know, makes total sense. Like I say, P-Devs are kind of nuts on this map. And I must admit, it seems to me like Cry is really struggling to maintain the map control at this point. He always seems to be one step behind, and you see now slowly Bestnoob is picking up a nice little VP lead against Cry. The lack of cover again on this map, really brutal to the poor Space Marines. Oh, that was really unlucky, man. Well, to be honest, it wasn't that unlucky. The attacks got super low, but to lose the Sergeant there, very annoying, because I'm sure he wanted to go for Stern Guard. Now he's going to have to rebuy that Sergeant. Should have retreated earlier though, I don't know why he stayed in for so long. What's down bot? Storms. Curious to have the Storm Boys guarding the VP at the bottom and not the Slugger Boys. Bit of a greedy grenade there, to be honest. The Assault Cannon Dreadnought would have bloody killed the mech boy just with his Assault Cannon before the grenade even went off. So, Tank Busters are spotted. An attempted barrage, but cancelled prematurely. Blessing of the Omnisci has gone down there from the Tech Marine, so it's automatically healing that Dreadnought a little bit. Alright. And a full route, basically, from Cry there. Ambushed and attacked from multiple angles, you like it, but... That's so annoying. Those Storm Boys were guarding that VP for ages, and as soon as he does his push away, scouts sneak around the back and get onto that VP. Cry now has the P-Devs en route. Death Dread for Bestnoob, makes sense, like I said. Just please, get a beamy Death Gun, Bestnoob. Please, please. So strong. I swear to you. So, Cry could play a really brutal VP game here with these scouts and the P-Devs. We'll see. We'll see. Let's check out the range of them. Alright, so not quite reaching the VP yet, but it'll be long. They can probably reach it from there. Yeah, easy. They can be like all the way back to here, for God's sake, and reach the VP. And then look at the distance from here to here, you're in base turret range. Like, it's kind of nuts. Oh! Ooh. That's hard for Bestie. Damn. Lost that shooter knob. Yeah, slugger knob, Jesus. Shooter knob. Won't be that big of a deal if you only lost a shooter, but to lose your slugger knob, it's your best combat unit, really. It's pretty rough. Still got his Storm Boys. Gotta be careful for foot nades here. Gonna be a foot nade. See how it does. Not that good, apparently. This is pretty rough, though. Double tank busters, and they're just getting bled like crazy because they can't actually deal with the Tech Marine. See, oh, and the Tech Marine wipes him. Oh, Bestie's fucking up here. Death Dread's on the field, but there's just so much easy AV for Cry. The Vengeance rounds and the Stern Guard, the Missile Launcher, and then of course the Assault Cannon Dreadnought can just go into melee as well. And that is honestly a horrendous engagement from Bestnoob, losing his Sluggers and losing his Death Dread shortly afterwards. Now, all of a sudden, he finds himself... What was the point of that? What the hell was that? I was going to say, now he finds himself outnumbered by Space Marines, even when you include the Grots. Well, he would have been even in numbers, and now he literally is outnumbered by Space Marines, which is not what you want to be as an Orc. Scouts once again putting pressure onto this VP, but no one on the top VP yet. The Tactical Marines are going to go over and try and deal with that. Level 3 missile attacks. It's pretty spooky. Sternguard got the wrong ammo in right now. They need to load the Hellfire. They've got it, no problem. And look at the Shooter Boys melt. Yep, Shooter Boys do not want that engagement. Holy crap. They need to be chasing after scouts. That is what they need to be doing, and those Marines need to get killed by melee. It's as simple as that. You're not going to kill them with range. You're not going to trade cost effectively. Most certainly when they have cover. But Storm Boys can definitely do a good job. It's like one of the scouts actually got wiped at some point. I didn't actually realise that. It's kind of a big deal. Cry actually replacing them and immediately getting some shotguns. But not enough DPS really. Storm Boys are just bullying the entire army here. And Cry might actually lose another shotgun scout if he's not careful. Retreating very late there. Death Dread does have the burners and bits, so hiding in the garrison is not such a straightforward, easy escape from the Death Dread. Buster's very low on HP, but they do have 4 models, so they're going to be able to output some pretty good damage into this Dreadnought. Not going to have 4 models for long. That was a very questionable assault cannon barrage, and it actually missed absolutely everything. Not really the time I'd be going for model kills on retreat with an AC barrage when there's literally 4 tank buster models a few yards away. I don't know what the units of distance are for this, but yeah. Very strange that Bestie bought the Gretchens and then just instantly threw them away. Yeah, a little bit of poke there from the Tactical Marines onto the Death Dread. I don't think they actually expected to see the Death Dread at that location, or I'm sure they wouldn't have gone in alone. Because obviously if they're alone, the Death Dread just charges at them and ties them up in melee and they're no effective. But damage buffed missile launchers from the inspiration of the Dreadnought are pretty spooky for a Death Dread. It's probably going to go down. How much HP has he got? Oh wow, they whiffed the shot. What the fuck was that? Wow, even got another shot in and didn't actually manage to kill it. It's the power of the burners and bits, I suppose. Map control's super back and forth. These P-Devs are going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Easy force off there from shooters. It's a nice little positioning game right now. Just tug of war on the peripheral VPs. Neither of them want to push too deep frontally into their opponents. Okay, we might get a big engagement here. Death Dread moving forward with very low HP to start the engagement, and a brutal P-Dev shot going into that shooter blob. Double tank busters outputting a lot of damage onto the Dreadnought, and another, a brutal plasma cannon shot onto those Storm Boys into a grenade, and the Storm Boys are going to get out with 4 HP, or will they? Will the plasma cannon kill it? No, it will not. The barrage comes down from the tank busters, and a huge amount of damage is inflicted onto the Dreadnought, and another burst of shots. The Dreadnought is getting healed by the blessing of the Omnissiah. These scouts are running forward along with the Tech Marine to try and disrupt the tank busters and keep the Dreadnought alive, but it is to no avail. The shooters successfully annihilate that scout squad from existence. Death Dread chases into base, all in vain, trying to take out that Dreadnought, and ends up being taken out by the Missile Tactical Space Marines instead. Lots of losses inflicted on both sides there. But unfortunately for Bestnoob, did not manage to take out that Dreadnought, and it is going to remain a true thorn in his side. Level 3 Dreadnought at this point. Absolutely brutal. Can't even take it out with the double tank busters. Really feel like he needs a beamy death gun. I have no idea why he is not getting one. So once again, both players are just going to trade those peripheral points. Oh, that plasma cannon is such a nuisance. These are level 3 Storm Boys. If they weren't level 3, they'd be taking even more damage, and look at that. That would have just blown up another 4 boys at least if they didn't hit retreat. Absolutely brutal. And then Shotgun Scouts coming over to the other side, actually forcing off both of the Tank Buster squads. Level 4 Shotgun Scouts at this point. Okay, Mechboy trying to do a bit of a tango with these Tactical Marines. It certainly helps when he's got his custom force field up, but unfortunately that cannot last forever. Now the Tactical Marines get the chance to do a little bit of pew pew back to that Mechboy. It's desperate times really for Bestnoob now. There's going to be a triple cap, but the Mechboy does manage to decap that 1 point, so it's only a 2-0 right now, which gives him a tiny bit more time. Looks like the Marines are going to actually charge forward and just deal with that Mechboy in melee, force him to teleport off, and now they can get the VP. So once again, will be a triple cap if Bestnoob doesn't do anything, but he's actually sent his entire army around to the east side now. It's a real game of VP tug and war. So yeah, he's going to get that one back. But he's still behind because he can't take the mid. So these very frustrating plasma devastators. Level Tech Marine, level 7 again. Wow, this Tech Marine just kills so many orcs. Another Bionics to knock away the Stormboys and just clear the soft retreat for the Dreadnought. Oh, imagine if he had a barrage here. Oh, this looks like a dodgy engagement for the Dreadnought actually. That's a lot of damage coming in. He will get his barrage back soon enough. He obviously won't have it just yet. Oh, the Hellfire damage from the Stern Guard is brutal on those Stormboys. They're probably going to get wiped in retreat. What knocked them over like that? Oh, that was a Tank Buster barrage actually hitting the Stern Guard. That probably saved the lives of the Stormboys there, as well as the disruption from the custom force field on the mech. Wow, look at how low the Dreadnought got. Oh, that's so sad for Bestnoob. 22 HP. God. Plasma Cannon once again been an absolute nightmare. Really good reaction time there from Bestnoob. That could have been just devastating if that hit clean. He retreated just in time. And the tug-of-war continues. Looks like Shooter Boy is going to take the mid. Probably will have time to cap it here as well. Something could do with going down bottom though and decapping this. This is very much a VP game right now. Hey, look at that! Dragonfire rounds to count the cover. Very nice. Swap back to the Hellfire. Oh no! Yeah, there we go. Bestie clearly lacking in resources right now, not even fully reinforcing his squads, can't afford it, too much wreck. Oh, beautiful bionic sweep there. And I did not even realise, but there are now 2 Dreadnoughts. Because I guess Cry's just bleeding far less than Bestnoob is. This looks rough for Bestnoob. But the thing is, he does have that 2 cap right now. Well, he's going to get it soon. Cry does need to split up his forces a little bit more. He needs to hold 2 VPs at the end of the day to win this. So, you know, when they split up those forces, that is when Bestnoob will have an opportunity to strike. But I'm afraid these Death Dreads, they're just not cutting it. Just not as survivable as the Space Marine Dreadnoughts with Tech Marine support. Well, that was nice for Bestnoob. Completely whiffed that Assault Cannon barrage to Cry. Once again, level 4 scouts have been an absolute pain dealing with the Tank Busters. The Tank Busters should just be meleeing them. They do okay damage because they are orcs at the end of the day. It's Bestnoob conceding. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he can't hold the mid here. Look at this. This is brutal. Yeah. Wow, what a showcase. The power of the Tech Marine, the power of the Dreadnoughts and the Plasma Cannons on this map. I mean, look at the bloody battlefield. So many dead Marines here. But notice how they're all within this 50% of the map that is in front of the Space Marine base. It's just... yeah, it's really hard. You have to commit so hard to pushing them off of this position. You end up bleeding a load of models on your melee squads. And then they're back out in seconds. Because it's so close to the VP. Well, there you go. Cry takes it. Cry is, I guess at this point, the best 1v1 player. Until we have another tournament to prove otherwise. But there you have it, folks. That is all from your boy Torpid today. If you do enjoy it, please leave a like down below. And a comment. Tell me what you think about the matchup. Tell me what you think about Space Marines in 1v1. For a very long time, they were considered to be the worst faction, to be honest. Even in Elite. So, for them to do so well here against Orcs who are meant to be also, well, not also, but just top tier faction all around, it's pretty crazy, really. But there you have it. That is Elite Mod these days. It is crazy. That is all from your boy Torpid. Thank you for listening, folks. Torpid out.